You always hear this is phase 1, and then there is a phase 2 coming, but the phase 2 never came. And the land has been there. In a lot of cases, the land has been acquired for many years, but the River Basin Development Agency has never had the funds to expand the scheme. So we say, okay, now you don't have the money, the water is available, the land is there, you cannot take the water. Let's get commercial farmers to come and take them over. And we have done that. We have allocated about 53,000 hectares of land to interested commercial farmers within the river basins.
Are those farmers paying?
Oh, they have to pay the lease. They have to pay a lease rate. They have to pay the water rate as well. And then we've given them a 1-year moratorium within which maybe to raise funds and to prepare the fields. These are some of the models that we're making to maximize the use of our lands and water in the basins.
How about for power? I did mention earlier on Jeba, Shiroro, Kanji. I think Kanji Dam is like the most popular.
Yeah, well, you know. Of course, Kaenji, Shiroro, Zungeru, those are under the purview of the Ministry of Power. But the Ministry of Water is the custodian of hydropower. Yes. In the National Water Resources Master Plan, which was first done in 1995 to 2015, and now it has been revised from 2015 to 2030. It has been identified that Nigeria has a potential of 14,000 megawatts of hydropower. About 3,000 is going to Mambila, but we've done quite a number of studies on some. We've done a number of mini hydropower projects. Some of our dams have some mini hydropower projects, 1-2 megawatts, but we now have for instance, in Gurara, a 30 megawatt power plant, in Kashimbila, a 40 megawatt power plant. And we have entered an MOU with a number of companies that want to do hydropower on a PPP basis. I can think of 2 or 3, about 350 megawatts, 750 megawatts. Another one has a potential of about 150 megawatts, and some like 80, 90 megawatts, which are quite substantial. And the ministry is open. We have an investment document to show the locations, those that are greenfields, those that are brownfields, for people that want to invest. Of course, you have to bring in everything has to be in accordance with the ICRC Act, the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission Act. And of course, you need to get the power license and so on and so forth. But we have quite a lot of information regarding hydropower in case people will be interested. We also put in a lot of pamphlet for the irrigation component, some basic information. And right now we are doing a compendium of all the dams in the country, so that on one electronic page you can get all the information about the technical data and whatever is available there for whatever need that you have, whether it's irrigation or hydropower. One thing that we've also done is, if I digress a little bit, is that instead of allowing the dams to lie idle, we have now opened them for cage fish farming. If anybody wants to lease one of our dams to do cage fish farming, they're available. We give you the land area per hectare, you pay for the water and pay for the lease of the land. So we've introduced quite a lot of things.
So that's like getting private sector involved.
Oh, definitely.
Do you think that the sector is viable enough with the way it is right now? Perhaps even as you are with regulatory body and all of that, because a private sector person is coming for profits. Yes, is that sector viable?
Well, it's been viable in other places, so I don't see why it should not be if the enabling environment is provided. And our job is to provide that enabling environment.
And are you providing the enabling environment now to encourage private sector investment?
Definitely. That's exactly what we are doing. That's exactly what we are doing. I know I have seen one of the areas where we have cage fish farming by foreigners, a foreign company, they came and took lease of the dam, and they're exporting tilapia from that place. So if it's not profitable, they won't be there. So
Nigerians should also take advantage of that.
Oh, definitely.
Of that kind of investment.
Oh, definitely. Right now, on one dam alone, we've given like 3 or 4 different licenses, and some people have already started bringing in You know, there is an interesting statistic I saw that Nigeria is the 4th largest consumer of fish.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, and
we import a lot of fish.
And this is fresh water.
Yeah.
So it's available.
You talked earlier on about the trimming project, the $450 million US. I want you to expand on that. You know.
Well, the trimming project, like I said, it's eventually I think it's supposed to end around 2022. It's the World Bank selected 5 locations: Kano River Irrigation Project, Hadejia Valley Irrigation Project, Dadinkowa in Gombe, Hadejia Valley is in Jigawa, Bakolori in Zamfara State, and the Middle Rima Valley Project in Goroyo. The target is to bring back 50,000 hectares. Some of it is lost command that is going to be rehabilitated. Some is additional hectares that will be provided. Work has started in Bakolori. The project was flagged off many months ago. The next bit is the procurement process has ended for Kano River Irrigation and Hadejia Valley Irrigation Project, and we are going to flag them off very, very soon. It's not just about doing the irrigation anyway. It's also about, from the name, it's transforming irrigation management. So the expansion of the 50,000 hectares is just one component. But there are other more very important issues like the, participation of farmers and women, introducing new farming techniques, new irrigation techniques, and so on and so forth. So quite an elaborate scheme. It also involves dam safety, rehabilitation, rehabilitating some of our dams and so on and so forth. Quite a comprehensive program, and we're on course. I believe we're about a year behind schedule, but hopefully we'll get things done. Because of the nature of procurement, the procurement process will go by, you have to go back and forth, so it has taken quite a bit of time. But we're on course.
Now let's talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, because you've got to address that, because I think number 6 indicates the fact that we need to ensure availability and sustainable management of water as well as sanitation. What effort is Nigeria making to ensure the delivery of this target by 2020? Because you mentioned even earlier 2030. You mentioned earlier that the MDGs, of course, we didn't meet up, especially in the sanitation area. Is 2030 realistic for us? At the speed we are moving, and
I think it's good to set targets. You shouldn't allow things to be open-ended, and so that you can work assiduously towards your target. I think it is achievable. It's just will. If we have the will, we will invest in water and sanitation. We'll get there.
Do you have that target in your ministry? Are you giving yourself targets? You talked about performance. I know you're a professional to the core for that matter. Key performance indicators that you've got to. What do we do by this year? What is short term? What is mid term? What is long term? Do you have that?
Definitely, and that's one of the key issues is the introduction of the PWASH program, because the PWASH is to aggregate all the efforts that are going on, to bring all the players under one roof, so that we have a direction and we have a coordination, and to galvanize the state. Because one of the key challenges we're facing in this country, I must say, whether in water or environmental health, federal government sets out policies, but getting them implemented at subnational level, at state and local government levels, is a problem. Because we have different governments, we have different parties, some have different priorities. So it's very, very difficult to get 100% key in. You understand what I'm saying? But we have to forge ahead. We have to keep moving. We have to go. And we try to carry everybody along. Right now, apart from PWASH program, we've also found we had a survey was conducted, and a report came out last year which showed that even the urban water supply, even the water supply sector itself, that we are thinking that we've been doing fairly well, we've actually been retrogressing.
No, we've not been doing well.
Yes, because the report showed that at 1990, 32% of the Nigerian population was enjoying pipe-borne water. But as of 2015, it has dropped to 7%. So the sector is in crisis. And that's why, in addition to PWASH, We now sat down with the states and everybody. We started this from the National Council of Water Resources meeting in Akure in August. We moved in September to have a retreat with the World Bank on all the state commissioners. We even invited legislators from the states to be part of the retreat. And subsequent meetings and so on, and workshops, we now came with an action plan, which I now took to the Federal Executive Council and was approved 3 weeks ago. And that action plan also, for the first time, has made it possible for the federal government to declare a state of emergency in the water and sanitation sector. And having done that at federal level, we now want to cascade it down to the states so that they too should declare a state of emergency so that they can accord priority to water and sanitation.
Do you think they bought into these with their actions so far? Well, because if you see, even in a lot of rural communities, there's no water, you know, because it's somehow, even when I see on television, you see people doing like this for water to come out. The issue also is that,
yes, the issue is there's also issue of geography. If the place has no water, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, but can't you bring in artificial water?
That's the point. Nigeria is a very large country. We know. Let me tell you the definition, our own definition here. Nigeria is defined as a water scarce country, but per capita, every human per capita we have 1,800 cubic meters per year. Per capita. So we have more than enough. The minimum is 1,000. But the problem is there are areas that have excess water and there are areas that have no water. And the challenge is how to distribute it. But states have been working, the federal government has been intervening, but it's not enough. We have rising population. We are not investing enough commensurate with the level of our population growth. That is the main issue. Secondly, some states go for quick fixes. They just want to drill boreholes, quickly get some water, instead of doing large-scale municipal schemes. For instance, in a state capital, if most state capitals there is a river nearby, or there is a possibility to build a dam and provide water, but you find dots of boreholes everywhere. This is not right. State governments must invest more money to do large-scale municipal schemes that can distribute the water everywhere. And that's one of the things we're trying to get at. Efforts are being made. And one of the problems also is that, especially in the rural areas, within 1 year, a study has shown that within 1 year, almost 25% of the schemes that are constructed collapse. For many reasons. One, sometimes you don't get the right people, you don't award the contract to the right people because of patronage and so on and so forth. Secondly, the communities themselves, somehow everybody expects government to do something, and government builds the borehole, and it's government that must stay there to maintain it. Once the contractor drills his borehole, he's gone.
So who maintains that?
The community. We are creating water user association. We create people within the community to guard and protect these water schemes for themselves. I cannot understand how in a village somebody will come, climb the tank, remove the solar panels, remove the water, the water pump, and he's never caught. You know, these are some of the challenges that are being faced. So the community itself, our communities must be mobilized. They have to know that this is for them, it's for their own benefit, and that's the kind of thing we're doing. And then we want to mobilize private sector funds. Communities, people should be investing money, even corporate social responsibility funds, and that's what POS is all about. People must put money, prioritize water.
Private sector, the big companies, for example.
Well, we are working. Procter and Gamble, for instance, is doing quite a lot. A lot of them are doing, but we want to harness them under this POS so that we'll know what everybody is doing.
Okay, let's take this question from Dele on Twitter. I said the challenges faced in public water supply in most cities in Nigeria are increasing population size, climate change, poor operational capacity of existing waterworks, leakages, low reticulation coverage, poor cost recovery. What's the Honorable Minister doing to check this? I think his answer, you've answered like the questions.
Oh yes, I think he has identified all the key issues. What he didn't add was energy.
Energy, which is very key.
Yeah, the lack of power supply adequate power supply is also a huge problem for large-scale municipal water schemes.
Abraham says, and if the irrigation program is successful enough, it can and should be used on cow ranches in their hometowns, and that's in farmers' hometowns and villages, to grow grass for their cows. This way they don't need to force themselves on farmers' land around the country, especially with this herdsmen farmers crisis that we're seeing, because it's been talked about that climate change, cows don't have water, they don't have grasses and all of that. Is there a way, is your ministry talking with other ministries to get this sorted?
Well, you know, the ranches, the whole idea, even I remember we had a comprehensive plan during the PTF days on mapping cattle routes and providing sanctuaries for them. We identified locations where they will have vet clinics. There will be some what we call cattle dams for drinking water and for ranches. But the whole thing was abandoned when the agency was wound up by the Obasanjo administration. These things are basic. It's all about water. It's about grass. And but bear in mind also, our own irrigation systems, the priority is for people, drinking water and food. But there is also provision everywhere for cattle and other animals.
Just as we close, I want you to answer this question in 15 seconds if you can. Do you think that Nigeria can have water self-sufficiency? Even as you alluded earlier that Nigeria can be adjusted as like a water-scarce country. I hope we don't experience what like Cape Town in South Africa is experiencing right now. Can we achieve sufficiency in water supply?
Yes, we can, but we need to get a lot of investment by government and the private sector. Government alone cannot do it. We have to, the whole society has to be involved.
Many thanks, Honorable Minister, for joining me on the show. Many thanks.
Thank you.
Many thanks. All right, I've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu. We've been looking at the water sector, national irrigation policy. I think we've talked basically of almost everything within your sector, but we'll continue to keep our eyes on your ministry, at least from now till 2019. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you also for your tweets and for your questions. Keep them coming. I'll just send it to the ministry for them to answer. Many thanks for joining us. Be the best you can be and be the change that you want to see. I am Nancy Nnaji. The news is coming up next. Enjoy your day. Bye now.